Welcome to the Bare Essentials. I'm DJ and today we're gonna learn how to make this fashionable outfit, a Davinci flying pendulum spit roast, which uses gravity to automatically rotate the spit. You'll learn how to build a primitive loom, ladders, pulley systems, a primitive fire, what ropes to use and when, and of course over 10 different knots in action along with where and why to use them. There's just so much packed into this video. This is gonna be a fun one. About a year ago, I built this dugout A-frame shelter using pretty much just hand tools, complete with a fireplace, bed, and even splitting my own shingles. After camping in it, I left it to the elements for about a year, and this is the first time I'm returning. So walking up, truthfully, I had no idea if it was even still standing. It's holding up well. Mind the spider webs. Wow, it's more spacious than I remember, but also has a ton of holes in it. Holy, this wood must have shrunk a whole bunch over the winter and this last year. Okay, so the plan is to fix up this shelter, make it nice and homey, and then we're gonna build our Davinci flying pendulum escapement device. This is gonna be so cool. These rocks here are kind of a windbreak, but to be honest, they don't do much. They just look really cool. We'll definitely have to fix this up before winter, but for now, that'll do. Found a couple treasures in there. Old mallet and my old gloves. Here's the mallet. These gloves just got chewed up completely. So for the first task this morning, I'm gonna make a bushcraft loom. The bushcraft loom is an awesome way to weave a mat, and that's the primary reason I'm doing it. But there's also a secondary reason, which is really cool. A sharp axe is important, so first I'm just going to touch this up. The loom is made with a few sticks hammered in, and then we have lines coming off from it, and then we get some material like cattails or any kind of long grass, and we'll weave that in to make a mat. So the loom is a fascinating bushcraft task that's worthwhile to learn. It has deep traditional roots in indigenous cultures all around the world and is used for so many different things. Now we just got to sharpen some of these to hammer them into the ground. So at a bushcraft camp, it's easy to set up and makes a number of useful items. It's used to turn fibers, whether that be branches, vines, or grasses in this case, into pretty much anything that could be woven. So not just a sleeping mat, you could make a roof or a shelter, bags, straps, many things. And I'm gonna show you some examples here. So here's our bushcraft loom. So I'm gonna tie strings to these main posts and they'll go along, and then strings to these upper posts. These ones will be fixed, but this one, I could go down and up and basically feed material in between. I'll show you how to do it. So this will be our anchor log. The distance across, it's a little bit wider than my shoulders and just a little bit longer than me. Perfect for a sleeping mat. What I use for these projects are just hemp or waxed hemp, just because it's biodegradable. So a lot of the bushcraft projects, I don't like using bank line or anything. If I want it to, you know, eventually fade back into nature, I just use the natural stuff. And it's about 50-pound test, so it'll hold just fine. Now I've wrapped it around the main log back there, and what I'm gonna tie here is the double dragon knot. If you watch my knot tying videos, this is the last one we just covered. So we just do an overhand loop, grab this, and that becomes like the reins. We'll feed one end through, around, and then wrap it in twice. I have a much better in-depth tutorial on this specific knot. If you want to learn, I'll link it in the video there. But now that we have it here, we can adjust, and I'll just pull it pretty much all the way. I just want to snug it in. And now at the other end, we'll tie up onto this one. You could do any knot here because we're going to be cutting this off anyways. But the double dragon is one that's pretty easy to adjust, so I thought I'd do it here. So as you can see, this guy can move down and then up. All these pieces are going to be anchored to this log here. And you can see we move up and down. You want your rope to be 2 times the length. So this is about 7 feet long. So I'm using about 14, 15 feet of rope. Okay, so the bottom one, I'll anchor here. So it's looking good, but I think what I'm going to do is move them in a little bit closer because the mat's going to extend a little bit off the side, and that's a little bit too wide for what I need. I'm just going to carefully slide these over if I can. Just a little bit. Okay, our loom's looking great. The next step is simply getting some material to fill it with. So I'm gonna start with the stuff I already have in my shelter, and then I gotta go harvest some more. I'm gonna try to find dead stuff. I'm looking for grass or dead cattails, anything like that. Here's the basic practice, and this is why it's good to have these ropes not too far apart. We're gonna feed some into there. If your pieces aren't long enough to cover the whole thing, we slowly layer them. And we will need a lot more. Now that they're wedged in between and underneath, we remove this stick and we're going to slide it down. Underneath to the bottom. And now what happens here is the lines cross. So as we fill in more, the lines will be zigzagging and basically holding all this material perfectly in place. So let's go harvest some more. We'll make a bed for tonight, and I'll show you something else that's really cool that we could do with it. So on the way to find material for my sleeping mat, I came across this. Let's see. I'm not a mushroom expert, but this looks like a coral fungus, obviously. There's some species that are edible, of course, and then there's some species that are pretty poisonous, so it'll make you sick. So I really don't know. This one looks like the good one, but I won't mess around with that kind of stuff. I know a few particular mushrooms, and that's kind of it. That's something I want to improve. Oh my gosh. No way. So I just stumbled upon the coolest thing. This is my favorite mushroom to harvest. It's called bear's tooth, and it's closely related to lion's mane. You might have heard of this. It's very, very good for you, and it's also delicious. And I've only found these a couple times before, so this is incredible to come across this right now. So I'm gonna harvest some of this for dinner, and then we'll leave a decent amount so hopefully it could propagate further. So this is one of the big reasons I have my Bare Essentials pack pouch. So I could just safely store them in there. Now I could hike it back to camp, anything I'm foraging, without it getting destroyed. There's lots of dead grass I could pull up. These grasses are really good. I just got to make sure to get all the dry ones. This green stuff technically has a bit of water inside, so it won't insulate me as much as I want it to. These dead bunches here, that's what I want to get. So underneath and then through. Now we take our stick, lift the loom, and we thread the rest into here. And as you can see, it's tied together real nice. All right, now that we got this really nice bed, we're gonna tie off these edges here, all those four, and then tie off those four. Cinch them up as much as possible. So we're just cutting this off and tying a square knot starting in the middle. Cinch it real tight. The square knot's just the one you use to tie your shoes with, right over left, left over right. A lot of people know this knot. You don't have to do anything fancy here. You always want to leave yourself a little bit at the end so you're able to tie these knots. This end here, just cinch them up, and what I do is kneel on them. Okay, pull that tight. Okay, got our bed. Oh yeah! Conforms to your body, it's so comfortable. So this is called the Bushcraft Loom, and you could weave all sorts of mats or even the shelter roofing itself. And I'll show you one other cool thing that you could do with this. So we have our grass mat, and I'll take the center of it and just open up a little hole. Just like that. And now we have a nice jacket. So obviously this thing is overkill because I stuffed it for a sleeping mat, but this is how you can make a really warm jacket in the winter if you need it. So very cool. All right, so now we have our sleeping mat. Let's throw it in. This is the greatest bed of all time. All right, we got our bed. Now it's time for the next bushcraft task, the Davinci flying pendulum. Let's do it. So first things first, I'll get this a little bit cleaned up and get a fire pit going. So this is just a traditional spit right now, and you'd put a piece of meat or something to cook on here and slowly turn it manually so it cooks evenly on all the sides. What we're gonna do is automate this so we could go and do other bushcraft tasks and it's gonna auto turn on its own. And how we're gonna do that is by using Leonardo da Vinci's invention. It's called the Flying Pendulum Escapement. And this is my first time trying this out. This is gonna be such a cool build, and it's kind of hard for me to explain with words, so I'm gonna visually show you with all the steps. Here we go. So first, I'm just gonna debark this entire thing. You could do it like this with just your knife and go along, but it's not 100% perfect. Now there's an easy trick that I like to do to make this a little bit better. So just gonna take my knife and a pretty solid stick and put it on top, put it into the stick a little bit, and tap it down so it almost starts splitting that stick, and I'll tap the back to get it a little bit deeper in. Now at this point it's really easy to pull out because there's a gap there. So I'm just going to take some wax temp here and we're going to tie a constrictor knot on the top. I have a video on the constrictor which I'll link, but we just wrap it around. It's very similar to the Clove hitch. Go cross over itself and it creates this X shape. When you come back around, go over this line here, and once you go over, we'll thread it through the X. The only difference between this and the Clove hitch is we wouldn't go over this standing line here. And then the functional difference of this is it locks in place extremely tight. So now we can really heave on this, and now that's locked in place, so we could use this as a draw knife. Okay, so we got our 2 support beams here. I've stripped the bark off and we're gonna have 1 cross beam. Now in the middle of this cross beam, I need to bore a hole with my knife, and I'm gonna do that just by pushing in and twisting and then constantly just doing this, just boring a hole right through. Just make sure it's centered. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the same with a round at the bottom. So we have this, and just going to get to work again. I'm just going to place this down so that I don't accidentally slice through on my hand. Perfect. Now we have this one with the hole and that one with the hole, and we need 1 stick to fit just like that, all the way up. Pretty much just like that. And we'll trim the ends to fit in that hole perfectly and trim the other end to fit in this hole here. Now for this end, we want to take off material and leave a sliver that's the exact size of the hole that we made before. So we're just doing some notches. I'm just going to touch up the knife a little bit. This is the sharpener wallet, and I'm just going to use the 1000 grit. So you just find that edge. I only need to sharpen the tip of it, really. So I'm going really light. And now the back has a strop on it, so this is what gets your blade really sharp. You just put it on a flat surface like this. And strop about 50 times. Yeah, it's razor sharp now. Notice I have a glove on my left hand here. When you're working with a knife, it's always your left hand that gets sliced up. If you're right-handed, that is. Opposite for left-handed folk. Fits in perfect. We want to turn just like that. So now for the cross beam, exactly where this hole lines up, we want another one. So we'll be using a shaped bucksaw cut on this one. And if you're a builder or carpenter, you might recognize this. A dovetail. There we go. All right. So now we have that secure. All right, perfect. We'll have to now secure this, and we'll use a square lashing. So on my Bare Essentials knot tying card, you could see there's an example, exactly what I'm trying to do there. It's the square lashing, and this one's hanging over a fire in a spit, just like what we're doing. So it has a little number, that's number 9. So we'll just go to number 9. And then you could see here, that's the square lashing, and that's exactly how to do it in all the steps. So we want this to freely spin and go pretty close to each one. I always wanted something so I can reference the knots when I'm out here and then see where exactly to use it. All the gear that I make is born of just me wanting to use it myself, to be honest. This one can actually be raised up just a little bit. All right, look at that. That spins freely now. Okay, on to the next step. A small stone. What we're gonna do is tie a rope around this, and we're gonna use the monkey fist knot to do it. And I'll cover this in a specific video because it's hard for me to show right now. Now we're gonna tie this to the end, and I'm gonna use a constrictor knot here. See how this works. It spins, wraps around, unwraps, and then spins. Now you might ask, what is the mechanism to keep this spinning on its own? Well, I'll show you. First things first, on this spit here, we want to make sure that turns nice and easily. We'll go up top and have a bracket here so it cannot come loose. So now here's the big challenge. We have to tie a rope to this center spinning stick, and that's going to twist around and make it want to turn. The inertia is going to be wanting it to spin. That continues and wraps around our rotisserie stick, which then continues and goes somewhere up there, and there's going to be a heavy rock on the other side that slowly comes down. So it gets pulled down and twists everything very slowly, and then in theory it spins the rotisserie by itself over a decent amount of time rather than me there twisting it. So I have to build a ladder to get up there and set up an anchor, then anchor a big rock. So that's what we'll do. Okay, time to build our ladder. So a quick note about ropes, you don't want to use anything stretchy because this ladder is going to be dependent on hitches to hold your wood in place. So instead we're going to be using specialized bushcraft and camping paracord. Now I designed it in such a way that it's a polyester and nylon blend. What that means is there's very little stretch, it doesn't absorb water, and it's 50% stronger than traditional nylon paracord. So this is tested to 750 pounds, so it's going to be overly strong here for my ladder. This is what I want to use, versus normal paracord, which is about 550 pounds. That's why they call it 550 paracord. So this one's 50 feet. We're gonna find the middle of this. Once you find the exact middle, make sure the ends are even there, and we're gonna bring it up to the top. And here we're gonna tie a clove hitch on each side. So 2 clove hitches. So a clove hitch in the middle of a line, it's very simple. Take your line, your right hand over top of your left, and that creates 1 loop. We'll do that again, the exact same thing, and that creates a 2nd loop. Put the right hand loop under the left, and now we slide that over, and there's your clove hitch. So we'll do it again right here. Right, left, right, over left. Now you have your 2 loops, the right one behind the left, basically the 2nd one behind the 1st. And I have an in-depth tutorial on this knot, as well as all the variations on my channel. I'll link it here. Now we have the 2 clove hitches. We're going to continue down a few feet, and then we're going to tie half hitches. Basically, fold your rope like this, go underneath, and pass it through itself. One is going 90 degrees one way, and the standing end is going 90 degrees the other way. Now we can match the other side, pull it through. Now we could adjust it to be perfectly in line with this one. That's it. And now we're going to repeat this process all the way down the ladder. Traditional mil-spec paracord is designed for parachute, so it's designed to have stretch. And I find, at least, when in the outdoors, camping, doing bushcraft, there's not too many applications where I actually want that stretch. It also absorbs a decent amount of water, whereas the polyester blend repels water, so your ropes aren't 2 times heavier after a good rain. Now when we get the end, you could tie a clove hitch here to lock it all in place. You could go one step further and tie the constrictor hitch. So you come down, cross it over itself, and you create this X. Now that we have this X shape, a clove hitch is done by going right through the middle and pulling. And if we snug this tight, we have the clove hitch, just like that, where this end's going up. Now if you want to change this into the constrictor, all you have to do is cross underneath this. And now you have the constrictor hitch, which is far more secure, and then we just do that on both sides. Now generally I'll set it up against a tree, but I'll show you how it's done. You slide these through and that'll lock there in place, and those are your steps. And as you go up, you build, and it just gets tighter and tighter as you climb. So I've carved another one of these with a hole in the middle and two of these little guys. So what this is primarily going to serve as is a pulley. So there won't be friction and it could spin. Last thing I'll need to do is carve a groove right down the center. All right, I used a timber hitch up there, and I used a tensionless hitch there. Now we have our big rock here, and we'll attach it with the double dragon knot, which was in our last video. And there we go. Okay, so we have our rock there with the pulley system, and we'll have that tight and wrapped around. One, continue that. Now all this right here is excess. We'll cut it off. Just use a Taut-Line hitch here, cinched all the way up. What I'm going to do is hoist that rope up first, and then we'll spin this. Okay, now that that's taut, let's wind this up. Each time this spins, it wraps around, it turns the rotisserie, and then it spins again. And that rock drops just a little bit. Alright, so we're just going to carve our little BowDrill kit. And so this piece of cedar is going to be our spindle. So this is all really good stuff. We'll keep that. Now today we're going to be using a piece of Chaga for our baseboard. If I can, I try to start a fire a different way for each of my videos. And so this one, we'll try to start one with the baseboard being this. So it'll be like that, spinning right into it. And then the ember starts right on this dried chaga. Chaga is a tinder fungus mushroom. Okay, So I cut a little piece of green wood with a hole in it. And we'll dig a spot in the ground for this chaga. Starts the ember right on the chaga. We got a sweet potato, we'll throw that on. Alright, so the Davinci spit is working. It's spinning the chicken a whole bunch though, but it's still cooking nicely. Every second rotation it does a huge spin. But this is awesome. I can't believe this is working well. Wow. So I've added in a bunch of sticks here just to give it more surface area and make it perfectly in line. See, and it spins around. And then it spins again. And each time it lets a little bit of rope go. We follow that. And it turns with each revolution. And we follow this. And you can see this rock here is just going to lower on its own every few seconds. There it goes. Here's our bear's tooth. I don't really know how to cook this over an open flame. I've always just pan fried them with butter and garlic, but I think I'll just heat them up like this. Maybe I'll put them right in here. Our potato, I forgot about it, but looks like it's still really good on the inside. Just develops a crust, so I'll still eat this. All right, I think we're done. We got our pepper, our bear's tooth, sweet potato, and look at that. Haha. Oh, that's nice. Wow, look at this.
I'm excited to try the bear's tooth cooked like this. I mean, this one's a bit charred. Not bad though. Much better with butter and garlic, but tastes a little mushroomy, but it's good. Onto the sweet potato. When you put it on the coals, you can just peel off the crust. It's so sweet. Now for the main course. Nice, delicious chicken. Cooked to perfection. The skin's gonna get really charred. It's still super delicious. I know it looks burnt to a crisp. It's not, it's juicy inside. The important thing is getting an even cook. The skin will sometimes be a little bit crispy, but it's so good. Oh, what a day. All right, my friends, someone gifted me this book of Hatchet after my last survival video. So I'm gonna sit down and read this in the little hut here and slowly fall asleep. Oh, there's a little note in it. Hey DJ, I wanted to express my gratitude for all the knowledge and inspiration you've given me in my own adventures and learning skills. I love that Hatchet is a favorite book of yours. It's a fantastic story of resilience and adventure. I thought this edition was a really cool one, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Thank you for being such a great resource and for all the work you do. Best wishes, John DeGroot. Wow. I'm speechless. That's so nice. I can't believe this. Thank you, man. I will definitely enjoy this. And thank you to everyone who follows and has kind words to say. I'm very happy to do these videos, and thank you very much everyone for all the support. I'm gonna shut it down for tonight and this video. I'm your friend DJ from the Bare Essentials. Thanks for stopping by.